This beast is currently for sale. This is the 5-liter V8 supercharged engine that we rebuilt from 2 Range Rovers. And after everything we went through with this car, I have finally decided it's time to sell it. But before I can let it go, there are still a few things I need to sort out first. And the timing couldn't be worse because I have already someone interested in buying this car. So in this video, I'm focusing on 4 main things. First, I have started hearing a knocking noise from the driver's side, and I'm hoping it's just one of the suspension arms. Next, I'm going to check the condition of the battery and make sure it's still healthy. Then I'm going to give the car a full oil and filter service. But the last thing I will tell you about at the end of the video, we are gonna find a way to reduce the price of the car without actually losing the value completely. And hopefully by the end of all of this, the Range Rover will finally be ready for its next owner. So I have been doing a lot of detective work and it was difficult, it was not easy. I went through every single arm and at one point I gave up and I thought maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something I did when I rebuilt the engine, but no, I found out the problem. Can you see this arm? It's all good here. So if I push up, down, left, right, it's all good. This is good, it's all good. But if I put pressure like this, let me see if I can replicate it. This, can you hear that sound? This is what I hear when I'm driving. Now, Alex on the passenger seat, she cannot hear it, but I can. So it's definitely this one. Let me see this one. Okay, this one as well. So we replace both. What do you think, Alex? Yeah? Replace both. Now, I hope that is it. Nothing this way. Nothing here. Let's see this way. No, we'll just replace it. What do you think, Alex? And the thing is, I had a feeling it would be this one, to be honest with you, before starting the job. So I already bought new ones. Let's bring them out and then we can install them. I'm going to start by removing the wheels. Next, I need to remove this huge 36mm nut. This is actually the biggest nut I've ever seen fitted to suspension arm. So let's see how easily it comes off. I am struggling with this one. I don't know how I'm supposed to get it loose. I'm thinking that if I use this extension bar, which actually comes out of IKEA wardrobe, it should give me enough leverage to remove the nut. And surprisingly, IKEA comes to the rescue. This plastic trim is now getting in my way, so let's remove it. It's only held in place with 4 plastic clips. Now I can remove the bolt and the nut holding the bush, and just like that, the arm comes out really easily. I remember replacing a similar arm on the L322 while working on a driveway. That one was an absolute nightmare, so I was expecting this one to be much more difficult. At this point, I start to inspect the rubber bush, and honestly, it did not look that bad. I didn't know it yet, but this was about to come back and bite me very quickly. And while I have a quick moment, if you have been watching and enjoying the videos recently, make sure you are subscribed. We're getting very close to 15,000 subscribers, and every subscription genuinely helps the channel. Now I can install the new arm, which is basically the same process in reverse. And while we're here, I'm going to replace the arm on the other side by following the exact same process. So we completed the arm job and hopefully we won't hear any noises. Obviously at the end of the video, we're gonna go and test the car. Now, one of the comments was, do you have a second battery? And the answer is, in this vehicle, yes, we do have a second small battery over here. Sometimes it's referred to as an auxiliary battery or a start-stop battery. However, the crash damage that we were working on is different. So in this crash damage Range Rover, we have a battery in the back, but over here is not a battery. It's something like a computer, something called, I think what it is called capacitor, which made me think we don't have that in the L322, and a lot of people are having troubles with the L322. So the L322 battery is actually here, it's not in the boot, and it comes with 1 battery. So what they end up doing, actually put another battery here. Over here, I have been testing a new product. It's called Ansel. Let me show you. So it is really this product here, okay? This is not a battery, it's a capacitor. So you may be wondering, how did I manage to connect it? And it's really that simple. Red and black. Red, I put it here on another red. This one is coming directly from the battery. And black, I literally just connect it to the chassis of the car. So this system right now is acting exactly like what we have in the L405. Now, obviously, if you don't want to put your device here, you can put it on top of the battery. This one is suitable to be in the engine bay area. I just didn't want to do that. This device is actually transmitting information through Bluetooth to my mobile phone. And I can see how much battery this has and how much battery the car has. So the percentage of the battery, you see it says 73?
Yes.
Okay, so I have been having issues with this car electronically. Can you see how it says red, 12.36? I can identify that there's a problem with this battery. Not because of just what's happening here. It actually tracks it 24/7. It tells me when the battery is going 100 to 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 while I'm driving, while I'm parking, all the time. If your battery goes flat, guess what? This device, without touching anything, it will auto jumpstart your car. Now, this video has been sponsored by them, so thank you, Ansel, for sponsoring this video. I will leave the link of the product in the description box. Now, let's carry on to the next job, which is the service. And let's start with removing the oil filter. Okay, I'm going to start by loosening the oil filter while the engine is still full of oil. I'm not removing it completely yet. I just want to make sure it comes out loose before I drain everything out of the engine. Let's lift the car and drain the oil from underneath this time, so we don't get complaints like last time. What I really love about petrol cars, you don't need to replace diesel filter. I think this is gonna go really bad. To be honest with you, this is really weird. I'm gonna do my best for it not to go anywhere, but down. Now I can remove the drain plug and finally let the old oil out. The engine holds a lot of oil, so once it starts flowing, there's no stopping it. And somehow, no matter how careful I position the container, the oil always finds a way going exactly where I do not want it to go. While the oil is draining, I'm having a good look at it. This is not a normal service for me. This is a 5-liter Supercharged V8 engine that was completely rebuilt. So every time I change the oil, I'm looking for anything that could tell me something is not right. Thankfully, the oil looks exactly how I would expect it to look, with no obvious metal or anything else that would concern me. Once all the oil is drained out, I can refit the plug and torque it correctly. The last thing I want after rebuilding the engine is to damage the sump thread by over-tightening it. And now the most stressful bit for me is checking the oil filter. See if we have metal particles or anything. The filter can sometimes tell you more about what's happening inside the engine than the oil itself, especially on an engine that has been rebuilt. Not a single particle. 100% clean. This is how you would want to see your oil filter. This is how it should be. Everything inside the oil filter housing looked nice and clean, which is exactly what I want to see. So now I can remove the old rubber seal, clean the filter cap, and install a new seal and new oil filter. And that is it.
Super easy.
Super easy. Now the new filter can go back into the engine and I can torque the housing to the correct settings. And of course, an oil service would not be useful without adding the new oil. This V8 takes a serious amount of oil, so I'm going to add most of it first. Start the engine, let the oil circulate through the filter, and then check the level again. Okay, this is the point where it's really exciting for me. The oil level is good. We're good to go to turn on the engine. And usually with fresh engine oil, it's very smooth. Let's see how it goes. I put the filter, new oil on the plug. Right, just confirming. Ready?
Yes.
Super nice. Super nice. And that sound is amazing. What you see, it's saying service required.
Yes.
I need to reset the service light, and also I'm just gonna run the engine a little bit, then turn it off and measure the oil again and top up, and then we can move on to the last piece of this video. The engine has now been running for a few moments. There are no leaks underneath, and the oil level is exactly where it needs to be. For most cars, this would just be another oil change. But after everything we went through rebuilding this engine, seeing clean oil, a clean filter, and no warning signs give me a more confidence that this V8 is ready for its next owner. Okay, I think you can see me now. Okay, so last time I was on the camera, it was a week ago, and since then I've had it was up and down. One of the subscribers came around to buy the car. All right, let's let me just reverse a little bit. At the end of the previous footage you just saw, I said, well, let's go to the last bit of the video. And the idea is for me to reduce the price of the car, and in return, I would remove the tow bar out of the car. At the end of the day, I get a tow bar and I get to reduce the price of the car, so the next person can buy the car cheaper and they can obviously get the dream car. Now, the subscriber knew about this and he was happy. I was upfront with it and he was happy and he said, yeah, well, I get a cheaper car, so why not? And I don't need to use the tow bar. They were excited about buying the car, so they came in, they viewed the car. The car was still on the ramp and they've seen the car. We went out on a test drive and that's where everything just went to downhill, basically. I thought I fixed a knocking noise, but it looks like I didn't. Now, it could be a different knocking noise because it felt different. That stopped them from buying the car, which I understand. You don't want to buy a car with knocking noise. We came back to the unit, we put the car on the ramp, and you know what? We couldn't find the problem. So I took the car off the market. I don't want to sell a car with a knocking problem. It's really not good for me or for the buyer. It's, you know, you don't want to have suspension problems. Since then, this is where it gets complicated. A lot of people have contacted me and said to me, Fahad, why are you selling the car? Why don't you raffle the car? This way you get to interact with the audience, like other big YouTubers, they will, you know, they raffle the car. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know the legality of it. I was in contact with Tina and someone else, I forgot their names, but from a company called RAF All. And the situation is, they can help me to raffle the car. And I could put I think the way it works that you could put a minimum where if it doesn't reach the minimum tickets sold, I could still keep the car, but the tickets, well, the equivalent of the tickets or the cash can still be given to the person who wins the raffle. So at the end of the day, you'll either win the cash or you win the car. I want to ask you, should I raffle the car? Do you think this is a good idea? If I were to raffle it, would you guys be interested in buying tickets? And how much do you think? I'm thinking maybe like, I don't know, maybe like £10, maybe £20, maybe even less, £5. This is a different thing for me and a different thing for the channel, so it's a good idea. And here's the tow bar in question. Basically, the idea is for me to remove this one, but you know what? I want to go a bit to the front and do a bit more inspection. Okay, so this is a drive shaft. And here, there's another drive shaft that goes from the differential to the wheel. This is the mic here. I'm gonna get you close. So, almost no sound from here, this drive shaft. Let's hear this one. And remember, I'm just using my hands. There's not even tools or anything. There. Can you hear that? I don't think it's supposed to sound like that. I think we have a problem here. Right, I think this is what we need. Let me show you. We've got a full shaft here. Right, so I think this should fix the problem. This is a 200-pound drive shaft, and I think our problem is in here. This does not make a sound. But you know, you could say I need to replace just a boot or maybe grease it and so on, but no, let's just buy the whole part and replace it all. And I think that is the best way to go about it. Do you think that could be the problem? I mean, obviously we're gonna have to install it and go for a road test, but I had a long week. For now, I am done. I thank you very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you guys on the next one, hopefully very soon. Bye-bye.